Hello everybody, Andy here again. Right, first things first, the figures down below from yesterday, and I'll just read them out. The daily deaths, it's a bit steady at the moment, 778, and the total deaths now in the UK is 12,107. As I said yesterday, that's only the ones in hospital, and also we're expecting a bit of a spike anytime sort of now in the daily death figures because of the figures that come through over the weekend, and it takes a while. One of the things that's been going on here, as I mentioned yesterday, about whether these figures are right, and watching some of the news last night, that's one of the things that's really coming out. There's a lag on these figures and the accuracy of the figures, and that's worrying some people, especially with the care homes. As I said, over 2,000 care homes have reported cases. How many people are unfortunately dying in there, and how is that reflected or not reflected in the official figures? That's something for time to come. Every time in the news there's always something slightly different that's a bit of controversy. There's still, I say with that, obviously the amount of deaths and how accurate that is, how they're being reported and calculated, etc. Also the testing, which is still going on because the UK government have tried to promise, because they've been caught napping a little bit, I think. But it's not easy trying to source these tests, I understand that. But if you're trying to get them earlier, you might well have got them quicker, if that makes sense. But they've promised, or they set a target of they're doing 100,000 tests per day here in the UK by the end of this month. So we're halfway through the month now, and we're not even up to 20,000 tests per day. So there's a long way to go, and if they don't do that, as I said, they will be criticised, judged by history and all that. Yesterday, the daily album I should write down there was Nils Lofgren's album Cry Tough, also from 1976, one of those albums that I remember listening to back in that long hot summer of 1976 here in the UK. Nils Lofgren, probably best known now for his guitar playing with Bruce Springsteen, who he's been with since the 80s, but famously was the man playing the piano on Neil Young's Southern Man back in the day. So there you go. What I want to talk about today was this, video making, because in these sort of weird and tough times, we all need something. I mean, especially if you're stuck at home, you're not working normally, but even if you are, maybe, you probably under more pressure than you ever were, working harder, and you need some sort of release. And this has become that for me because, as I said, I didn't really intend doing these videos to start with. It was just because I saw other people starting to make them, but then got into this habit of talking about the coronavirus and calling these the coronavirus diaries, and trying to keep some sort of record, as I said before, as like a digital memory bank. And I mentioned about the project that the local library were doing. We're trying to get people to write blogs or record videos and maybe use them in an archive in the future. And as I've mentioned about being able to look back on these, whether it be in a few months' time when we do eventually get to the other side, hopefully that is in a few months' time, or in years to come, because, as I said, other people, friends of mine who started making videos again, started making vlogs. As I mentioned before, I started doing this in 2006, but have had rather a hiatus, as so many others have. But this has got a lot of people back into it again. And one of the reasons is because it does help you, as I said, and Julie's actually mentioned it. It's great to see you doing it because it's a focus for the day, and we all need sometimes that little bit of a focus on the day. It gives you something to do, something to think about, trying to come up with a slightly different angle of this every day of the week, for 22 days now. It's not pressure. I mean, if I want to stop, I shall stop, but I'm actually enjoying it as well. It's good to get back into doing this, and because I've always called these sort of videos, and back in the day, the 2006, 2010, when we were all making a lot of videos over there on YouTube, I used to call YouTube the sort of psychiatrist's couch of the internet, because it was a way of release. You could put things out there and people will watch them. You could get people watching all over the world, as I'm doing now with these videos. I've got I put them onto Facebook, and I have local friends who I know are watching them, comment on them, like them, and I know they're appreciating them as well. Funny enough, I had a message from someone who I know is in lockdown in Spain who's been watching these, which is very nice to hear. I had a comment yesterday from Victor, who's over there in Japan, and obviously lots of friends in America as well. And it is great to reconnect with those people, hear what's happening in other parts of the world as well, because that is an important thing. We're always insular, and maybe even more insular now because we're stuck within the four walls of our properties generally. But it's great to hear what's happening in other countries and hear how they're living their life, how the lockdown, because apparently half of the world's population under lockdown in one form or another, which is quite something, isn't it? That's quite a mind-blowing statistic. So we're all suffering this. We're all, you know, having to deal with this in some way or another. And this is a great way of doing it. I've said before to other people, you know, have a go at this. Do some videos, and you don't have to publish them. It can just be for yourself. You can just save them and then look back. As I said, getting that sort of problem shared is the problem halved, and all that sort of, to paraphrase that, I don't know, but it is a good thing. And also, it's nice to know that other people are actually appreciating what you're doing. It's one of the things that always was the great thing about YouTube back in the day and making the videos back in the day, was that other people appreciated them. And not several people have said to me on Facebook privately or on YouTube or whatever, I said, I'm enjoying watching these videos. It's good to get a perspective from the UK or just somebody else's perspective, because sometimes they see that you're having a bit of a rough day, or what it's like, the situation is where you are. And it's a sense of comfort to know that we are all in this together, because you're sitting confined in your four walls, especially if you're on your own. And I really sympathise with you if you are on your own. It's a friendly, hopefully a friendly face, mine or the other people that are doing this. So it's good, and even if you just sort of touch one person with these videos, then it's certainly been worthwhile. So that's another reason to do it. I'm doing it for myself, for that sort of digital memory bank, as I said. But it's also nice to get comments. So I'd appreciate that if you are enjoying watching these, and what aspects of them you are enjoying, or maybe not enjoying. I don't know. You know, it takes all sorts. So there you go. I thought I'd just mention that. It is a nice look, folks. It is good to get back into this. I've never had a problem with talking. As other people will tell you, it's stopping talking that is usually my problem, hence the fact that we're nearly at 7 minutes already, and I thought this would be a short video. So there you go. So stay strong, stay safe, stay at home, and hopefully I shall speak to you again tomorrow, day 23. Goodbye.